Welcome back to part 3 of how to find the best deals in real estate. And what we're as our part of our 3-part series, we're working on here at the Real Estate Profits Podcast. We've been doing a deep dive into the most common questions I get asked a ton, and it's how you find your first or next deal. And one of my favorite topics, I can't wait to dive into this today with you deeply. We give you some good tips to use. The driver I've used going from real estate groups to connecting with people one-on-one with either a lunch or a coffee or building your pipeline in your network, I think is super important. So here we organize that a little bit. We build off of what you already have. We leverage your network now and explain what your network is and how to best utilize that. And then by layering all these things with meetup groups and real estate investment groups, real estate in person or online meets that you're having, realtor relationships, banker, title, all these relationships in your network. The goal would be to connect all those people. And then I call it the kitchen table philosophy of coffee and or lunch. And you move from being hope-based networking that it'll work out to more of a strategic-based system. And it's not crazy. We're not getting in. If you're analytical, this is going to be good, but not great for you. If you're more like me and you're super busy, you're not spending a lot of time on every little piece of information, and you're not super analytical, which I'm not, but I work on that real hard, have a team that helps me, this is going to be super helpful for you. So my extroverts, people who aren't super analytical, it's going to be practical. For my analyticals, you can do a deep dive into this and crush it. So the core argument I want to talk about here is that your network is your net worth, but only if it's curated. So the argument is, I like the fact that people talk about your network is your net worth, but you have to curate it. You have to work on it. So today's podcast is designed to help you and your team build a high-value real estate ecosystem using a CRM, or what's called a customer relationship management platform. Now, let's not get in the weeds too much about this. It could be a simple Google spreadsheet, which is free if you have a Gmail account, or if you have Microsoft, it could be Excel. You can pay, and there's a lot of free ones out there, softwares. If you Google CRM, you'll see all kinds of platforms you can use that are free and some that cost several dollars a month. So I want to be real clear about that you can do this on a budget or on a shoestring budget, or as I started out, bootstrapping it. So we do have a system now. We do pay for it, but it's part of some other software we use. So I don't want to get in the weeds, but if you direct message me, I can let you know what we're using, how we're using it, implementing, if you really, really want some nuts and the bolts. So I call this the Deal Connectors CRM strategy, from coffee to capital. So if you're scaling your network, which you always should be doing, growing your network, we'll get into that, what your network looks like. And I'm really excited about this because we use it to this day. Our network's always growing. You're going to put people in your network that you're using. You're going to have new contacts you're going to put in. And maybe people you haven't talked to in a while. They moved away. They're no longer doing, say, real estate, your business. They're going to come out of your network. It's okay. So we're going to talk about scaling your network and how to do it now, today. You already have a network. We just need to help you organize it. So I call this the relationship ROI. There's a great guy, Chris Voss, talks about return on relationship. He's got some great stuff out there, but I call it relationship ROI. So the challenge, and we'll lay out to you, is that most people think real estate's about houses. It's not. It's not about properties and finding the best deal. It is about finding bargains and then making them better by adding value, putting good tenants in, all those things. So, but most people think that real estate is about houses. It's not. It's about people. If you want to grow your real estate business, not by one unit, but by many, you don't need more listings. You don't need better ecosystem. The problem you have is you have a great ecosystem now. It's how to tap into it, maximize, and really help and add value to them. So we've all had great coffee meetings. We met with somebody, or maybe a lunch meeting that went nowhere, because we forgot to follow up. So this is the key. This is what makes people okay to great. I really believe this. So a lot of us may be good about making appointments, good about making meetings, attending the meetings, and then we lose people in the cracks, our busy lives. We're all busy. I get it. But if you can have a way to help you, a way to help systematize this, this is the solution. So we have a system. We connect, engage, track, these people, we add value, very, very important, and then track how meeting someone can turn into a relationship that gets deals done, not only for you, but for them. So now you become a super connector. And we'll talk all about that. The roadmap for turning a contact into a profit engine is what I call it. I just want to use some terms. I say it's a profit engine because it has afforded me many deals, but I've also given a lot of value away. So I'm not asking for something. Again, we are helping and add value, and we're leading with that. Genuinely, with vulnerability about our mistakes and what we need, but we're also giving value and helping people and asking what things they're working on or hurdles and mistakes they're making. So let's just jump into it. So phase one is the deal connector framework. So Dunbar's rule. Who's ever heard of Dunbar's rule? Let me know in the comments. This is a great rule. Once I heard this, I'm like, that makes sense. Some things you just hear and they click. So the Dunbar's rule is the rule of 150 in relationships. Often to referring this as a theory that is a cognitive limit to the number of people with whom we can maintain social, stable relationships with. Long story short, if you're from West Virginia like me, what that means is you know 150 people, okay? So we're going to break those 150 people down and how you can add value and help and grow that network. And then how powerful that 150 people in your network is to work for you. So you basically have 150 employees working for you if you're doing the right things and giving them value. So let's say this is true, 150 people. Okay, let's just assume that. Let's break this down, our network, and how to harness it to principle and to do it very powerfully. So one of the things I love to hear is we've been working on this in my accountability group. I lead the top 5 in your network is your net worth. So Jim Rohn said this, you're the average of the top 5 people you spend the most time with. So who's your inner circle of people that you see daily, weekly? I want you to think about that. This could be your mom and dad if you're young. It could be your best friend if you're in high school. It could be a coworker in the cubicle beside you. It could be your partner. It could be your wife or your husband. So I want you to think about these people, who they are, and then these are people that would do anything for you. And if you got arrested, they'd bail you out of jail, hopefully. If you had a tire at a flat, you can call 5 people, they come help you. But you got to curate those relationships. You got to be there for them as well. So it's really important. But these are your people, your ride or die. Once again, your spouse, business partner, your lead mentor, people that you talk to, again, daily or weekly. So that's really important, your top 5 people. Next is your top 50. These are your key influencers. So these are people that you talk to monthly. You talk to them, maybe more than once a month, but at least monthly. These are good people you can call up right now, and probably they would say yes more than likely to help you move your needle forward in your business. Coffee, lunch. Think about people, if you're in real estate, your top banker, your best wholesaler, a heavy-hitting attorney that you use that help you on stuff. They touch base with these people at least monthly. So when you start writing these down, we'll get into that, how to do that. This is critical because these are going to be people that you're going to be able to add value and give referrals to and help and pour into their network to help their business grow, and they're going to be able to do the same for you. And this isn't as hard. You'll see how easy this is as we go along. So the top 100 in your ecosystem are people that you talk to monthly, every other month, definitely quarterly. So you want to stay top of mind with these people. What I mean by top of mind is they think about you. If you're a realtor, for example, they think about you as a real estate agent. If you're a real estate investor and you see a house that's run down, the grass is high, they think about calling you. So these are people like property managers, local title agents, other investors you reach out to quarterly. This is what I call the deal mindset, because everybody can be collaborative. Everybody can help you and add value, but you can also do the same. So a good deal connector, this is what I call somebody who uses their network well, doesn't just meet people, they connect people to each other. And I think that's really important. And that's how you earn your seat at the table. If you can do this, you can what I call triangulate others. So, and we'll get into some examples, but this is super important. If you have somebody that needs help, maybe a lender, you can connect them to a lender. And that lender knows a good title person that they close a lot of deals with. Now you can connect them to that. So now you have a good lender, a good mortgage person, a good investor, and they're all good people, and they all can use each other's help. So that's an easy way to triangulate that, or to build multiple ways to build value. So you can just add value, We can also multiply value to your connections. So let's talk how this works. Why is it a game changer? First, you meet a well-connected local investor. He says he needs a good contractor. I get this a lot, to help with his rental units, to be turned after a tenant moves out, to do some maintenance. Maybe it needs a total renovation. So you know a good contractor that you use is sometimes slow in the winter. That happens, very common. You ask the contractor if you can share a good contact with me that helps, that needs help. And then now you create value. So you got a dependable contractor. They connect with somebody who's a well-connected investor, has work for them. Then you provide a good workflow that leads to your dependable contractor being busy, and then you have a good connection with the investor. Look at your value bridge that you built. So now you built a bridge between two people. You got a chance to add value. Didn't take long, took probably less than 5 minutes. And now you got two people connected that are getting really good value. And now you're valuable because you're somebody who's connected. So if you do this for a few other contacts, you're a valuable person to know and have built and are building a relationship capital with these individuals. So that goes a long way. And these are the things, simple things I've done, but it definitely helps you build relationship capital. So what we're going to talk about is the CRM and how that's your second brain. Why a CRM platform? So as we talked about, you can't imagine 150 relationships in your head. Like right now, if I said, think about the top 150 people you know, people are like, I can't think of anybody. I get it. That's why you need to strategically sit down and talk about this. So you can't just come off the top of your head, hey, I need to get a hold of Mike. I need to get a hold of Mary this week. You know, it's just not. It has to be a simple system that you use. And I build this into my calendar daily. I have an assistant. She helps me do this. So if it isn't in your CRM, it doesn't exist. From now on, if it's not your CRM, which we already talked about what? Google Sheets, Microsoft. If it's free, you can pay for some things. That's fine. But if it's not in your CRM, it doesn't exist. I tried to keep it in my head. I did that for a while. It doesn't work. I tried. It just doesn't work. So next, I used a calendar with reminders. Nope, that didn't work. So I used a simple Excel and Google Sheet. We have a great template. And you can email me or message me. I'll definitely get it to you. So I get you a copy for free. But if you type CRM in the comments, we can connect. So let's get real and talk about your network for a second. So as we're talking about your network, you've heard we talked about the Dunbar rule, or the 150 rule. And that rule states you can only manage to have 150 relationships that you can maintain at any given time. So with this being said, assuming this is true, which it is, that's my experience, maybe even less for some people, depending on how old you are and how bad your memory is, you have only top five daily and weekly folks that you talk to. And then it gets into your 50, which you engage with monthly, and then 100 in some form of this in a quarterly type yearly basis. So with each person, 150, so if they know 150 people each as well, you have 150 in your network. This is where it gets crazy. 50 people in each one of those persons' network. Now it's over 22,500 for my analyticals. Do the math. 150 times 150 is 22,500 people that is in your network and your networks. So your network does all that make sense? That's a lot of people. I mean, a lot. Now, how do you have access to those people? You have to be top of mind in your 150 people in your network. And when you stay top of mind with them, they're able to give and add value to you by giving a referral. And this is the key. And you, by giving value, adding value, staying top of mind, and it's not as hard as you think, but once you do these things, that's how you're going to leverage this and set this up. So get your pen and paper ready. We've already talked about the 150 rule, your 5, your 50, your hundreds. This is where you need to write this down, take action. So how to get all this on a Google Sheet or Excel sheet and set up your CRM network. Okay, nuts and bolts. For those who like tangible things, let's go. So the setup, you're going to go, I'm just going to say Google Sheet. This is what I did to start. With tagging at the top, you're going to put lenders, wholesalers, mentors, West Virginia roots, people that you grew up with. The last contact field, so my CRM tells me when it's been 30 days. So you have it, you know last time you reached out to them, you put a date on that. Since I talked to my top 50. So that's my accountability partner. My CRM keeps me accountable. So this is how a simple date in the spreadsheet and bam, you have a connection again with them. And you just keep that current. It's so important. So that's your workflow. That sets up your schedule. That sets up your lunch dates, your coffee dates with people. Immediately log in the miracle question answers. We cover this in depth on part 2 of this 3-part series. 3 miracle questions. We're just going to tap into it real quick here and get into it. So looking back at part 2 later, I want you to watch that and you get a lot more out of it. And then part 1, you'll get a ton. If you watch this 3 parts, you'll get a ton out of it. So, for example, you're going to log in your sheet. I met with Mike. He's looking for a roofer. I had that problem today. I'm tagging him my top 50 task. Send him the roofer's contact today. So I'm going to have him send it in today. So when I leave the appointment or before I leave the appointment, I'm going to put that information in or just do it right there. And I picked this up from someone in a book. I'm not sure what it's called, but they're called 5-minute favors. And these are things that you can do. They don't take a lot of energy, but if you can do them within 5 minutes, just get it done. Even do it now, and you will not forget and lose it. But if you're not going to do it right away, pull your phone out while you're talking to somebody, get the contact to them, or if you need to get back to your office to get it, and make a note about who to contact or what you're going to do. Just do it quickly. And then once you build these things in your calendar, you can look back later. That's what I do at my calendar and see what I have to do. So if you do it and add it into your schedule after your meeting, this does several things. This is where you become okay to great. This does several things. First, it adds value. So now you become someone of value who's given value to somebody else. Very, very important. You don't just say you want to help and add value, you provide value. Super important. Second, it shows you care. So that people take time to show and spend some time to do something simple, it shows you care. And now it makes you more important, top of mind. Third, it shows you what you say you do, you do. So you show somebody dependable, trustworthy, you can count on. Fourth, it makes you a connector for when they need something else. So now you're top of mind, and when they need something else, they're going to call you. Chris, I have a construction question. What is it? Let me try to help you. And I do honestly try to help people that way. Or it's going to be some other way that you can help or add value. Then number 5, the relationship capital you build pays compounding interest. This is the exact framework I've used to connect and close multiple deals. So Warren Buffett says that the 8th wonder of the world is compounding interest. And this is how you can do it with your friends, your family, and your network. And you can do this, and this is how, in relationships, by pouring back into the people that you already know, that they're already helping, that you're already part of your circle. So executing the miracle questions via your CRM. So episode 2, again, we covered that. Please go back and watch that. You'll get a ton out of it. But when you're at the lunch table, you're gathering data for your CRM. This data will help you add value to them and help them in what they're doing. So it may be they have kids or dogs or needs they have, a remodeling question at their house. Remember question number 1, how can I help and add value in what you're doing currently? And then listen, don't take no for an answer, but how you can help. This gives you the chance to help them and add value. Don't miss this piece. We are wired to help as good human beings. We will do this by offering value first. It shows your character, and then they in turn, if they're good folks, are going to want to help you out. And that's who you want in your network. People are going to add value to other people. Question 2. So before you ask question 2, remember, others don't want to be one-upped. They don't want you to say, hey, Chris is giving value, I want to give value. So what ideas do you have for me? It's okay to ask. Now that you've asked and given some value, it's okay to ask for something else. What ideas do you have for me? And this does several things. It makes the other person feel important because they want to help. It makes the other person feel good because you've asked them for a favor. And now it's how you make people feel. It's not how they feel about you, but when you're not around, how they feel about you. And people do want to help. People do want others and they want to be able to help add value just like you do. So that's a gold nugget right there. I want to give that for free. I won't charge anything for that one. It's good to have around in your back pocket. So the multiplier effect. When you ask this question, number 3, who else should I talk to? We talked about this in podcast number 2. Who else should I talk to? And they give you a name that goes into your CRM. If you can't spell it, ask for the spelling with a referred by tag. So make sure you credit who told them about so-and-so, and that you can say, hey, I did this yesterday. Hey, you don't know me, you know Jason. Jason referred me to you. So now you've built a bridge. They don't know you from Adam. You called them up out of the blue, but they've talked to Jason. They know Jason. They have a relationship with Jason. And so however they think about Jason, hopefully it's good, or don't use that person. If it's a good relationship, now you can use that as a bridge and you right away build some like and trust. So now you have a warm lead. It's not a cold lead, but a warm lead. You've already have a bridge. Hey, I was just talking to Jason at lunch and your name came up. So you're adding value, your relationship capital for Jason and now that lender I talked to, and that goes a long way. So look through your top 100. Who can you connect with today? Sending a value introduction email is the fastest way to stay relevant without asking for anything. I do this all the time. Like I said, one of my favorite lenders, we just brought up lenders. One of my favorite lenders is great at closing a deal. He may not be the best rate or terms, but I know he's always competitive. When he says he can get a deal done, he gets it done. So I don't have to guess if it's going to close or not going to close. And those things can be crazy if you're an investor or even a home buyer. So real estate investing, one of the worst things in my mind is a lender that says all the right words and assurances, but they can't close the deal or extends the deal more than once, and then you lose the deal. That's just bad across the board for you and for your reputation. So when I have a good connection and I want to add value with somebody who needs a lender, I have a go-to person that can get it done. This connects the lender and the investor and makes you look good. I say a lot, and the more I do, the more I believe it. It's not what you know, but who you know, and then who they know and lead you to. And I think that's probably the whole crust of what we're talking about today. So today in closing, I just want to make sure you got some value, how to use your network, you got some tangibles here, and the goal is the long game. It's not a fast nickel, but a slow dime. As one of my buddies, Marvin, says, the CRM isn't a digital Rolodex. It's a bridge to the kitchen table for coffee, for lunch. And the kitchen table is where you close deals. So every top 50 touch point is an investment in an owner financing deal or a portfolio acquisition, and you are one relationship away from your next deal. So action steps for today is take 20 minutes, identify your top 5. This will take 1 minute. Then you identify your top 50. This will take around 9 minutes. Next, you'll quickly list your top 100 and just write them down. Don't overthink it. List everyone in your Dunbar 150. It will not be perfect. That's okay. It will change over time, and that's okay. Just get the names down. Put them in your CRM. Set a reminder, reach out to one person just to ask, how can I help today? Start with your top 5. Then each day of the week, list 10 people in your top 50. This will take a week. You get them into a CRM and connect monthly, and then quick text or email to your top 100. Hit them up the same way quarterly. And remember, it's not transactional, it's relational. You don't want to do one deal, you want to do 10 deals with somebody. So build on that bridge. So let's recap what we covered today and what we're trying to get accomplished. Strategically, you're using 150, the Dunbar rule, to categorize your network to build a foundation for your pipeline for growing your real estate investing business. And that's what we're trying to accomplish today. And what it'll do tactically, it gives you a reason to use your CRM daily as a lead gen tool, not just an address book like most of us do. I know I'm guilty of that. Then relationally, it keeps the focus on the kitchen table and the value first philosophies you've already established. You will be top of mind when someone goes to sell or thinks of talking to someone to sell. And that's where you want to be. You want to be top of mind. I can't stress that enough and how important that is. So for these other strategies, please connect with us. We'd love to help you get to your first or your next million in real estate. If you like what you've heard today, please like and subscribe. We'd be so grateful. Thanks.